Picture this: a crowded train in Tokyo. A toddler starts to melt down, and the mother does nothing. No yelling, no bribing with snacks, no desperate whispers of "stop it right now." She just waits, calmly, like she knows something the rest of the world doesn't. And here's the thing, she does, because Japanese children are consistently ranked among the most well-behaved, self-disciplined kids on the planet. Not because they're punished into obedience, but because of a parenting philosophy so simple and so powerful that once you hear it, you'll never see your child's behavior the same way again. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll have 3 tools that Japanese parents have used for centuries, and you can start using them tonight. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Japanese culture is completely different. This won't work for me. And I get it. But here's what's fascinating. The core principles behind Japanese parenting aren't cultural secrets. They're backed by decades of developmental psychology. Researchers at Harvard, Stanford, and child development institutes around the world have studied why Japanese children regulate their emotions so well. And the answer isn't strict rules. It isn't fear. It isn't even discipline. At least, not in the way we think of it in the West. It all starts with one word: shitsuke. In Japanese, this word is written with 2 characters, one meaning body and one meaning beauty. Literally translated, to attach beauty to the body. Not punishment, not control. Beauty. Shitsuke is the Japanese art of raising a child who wants to behave, not because they're afraid of consequences, but because good behavior has become part of who they are. Think about that for a second. In Western parenting, we wait for the bad behavior, then we react. We yell, we take away the iPad, we send them to their room. And for a few minutes, it works. But then it happens again and again. That's because we're treating the symptom, not the cause. Japanese parents do the opposite. They prevent the fire instead of constantly putting it out. And the way they do that comes down to one powerful question they ask themselves every single time their child acts out. What skill is my child missing right now? Not, how do I stop this behavior, but what does my child not yet know how to do? Because here's the truth. Children don't misbehave to make your life difficult. They misbehave because they lack a skill. Emotional regulation, patience, communication. These aren't things children are born with. They have to be taught. And the moment you shift from punishing behavior you don't want to teaching the skill that's missing, everything changes. Now, let's go back to that mother on the train. Why didn't she rush in to stop the tantrum? Because she was practicing something called mimamoru. Mimamoru means to watch over while protecting. It's the Japanese belief that children grow stronger when adults resist the urge to intervene at every single moment of difficulty. In the West, we're trained to fix things fast. Child struggles, we step in. Child cries, we solve it. Child fails, we rescue. And we do it out of love. But here's the unintended consequence. Every time we rush in, we're sending our child a silent message. You can't handle this on your own. Japanese parents do something radically different. They step back and they observe. Not coldly, not without care, but with a deep trust that their child has the capacity to work through hard moments. They let the child sit in the discomfort, just long enough to try. And when the child manages it, even partially, that experience becomes the foundation of genuine confidence. Not the confidence that comes from being told, "good job," every 5 minutes. The confidence that comes from actually doing something hard. Studies in developmental psychology call this productive struggle, and it's one of the strongest predictors of emotional resilience in children. So the next time your child is frustrated, upset, or struggling, before you jump in, pause, watch, give them 10 seconds. You might be surprised at what they're capable of. Here's where Western assumptions about Japanese parenting usually break down. People often assume that because Japanese children are so disciplined and calm, their upbringing must be strict, cold, rigid. The opposite is true. Japanese parenting is built on a concept called amae, which loosely translates to the feeling of being able to depend on another person's love. In the earliest years of life, Japanese mothers are extraordinarily close to their children. Co-sleeping is common. Physical closeness is constant. The child is never made to feel alone in the world, and this isn't babying. This is the foundation. Because here's what neuroscience tells us. A child who feels deeply, securely attached to their caregiver develops a nervous system that is more capable of self-regulation. When a child knows, in their bones, that love is not conditional, they don't need to act out to get attention. They don't need to test limits to feel secure. The emotional closeness in early childhood becomes the soil from which self-discipline naturally grows. And then, gradually, as the child develops, independence is gently encouraged. Responsibility is added little by little. Not because the parent has pulled away, but because the child is ready. It's a beautiful balance. Warmth first, structure second, not the other way around. Now, quick question before we get to the last piece of this. Have you ever noticed that Japanese children clean their own classrooms? Every single day. No janitors, no adults telling them. They just do it. That's not an accident. And it's not about cleanliness. It's about something much deeper. The third pillar of Japanese parenting is this. Behavior becomes character through repetition. In Japan, children as young as 4 are given small daily responsibilities: setting the table, packing their own school bag, cleaning up after lunch. Not because the parents need the help, but because these small rituals, repeated every single day, do something extraordinary to the child's sense of self. They start to see themselves as capable people, as responsible people, as people who contribute. And identity, once formed, drives behavior far more powerfully than any rule ever could. This is why Western parenting often struggles. We set rules, we enforce consequences, we reward good behavior, but we forget to build the identity. Japanese parents don't say, "Clean your room because I said so." They say, through daily ritual and modeling, "This is who we are." And children rise to meet that identity, every time. So here's your practical takeaway. Pick one small daily ritual to introduce this week. It doesn't need to be big. Maybe it's having your child set the table before dinner, or pack their own bag before school, or say thank you before every meal. Do it every day, without pressure, without reward, just repetition, just expectation, just trust. Give it 3 weeks. Watch who your child starts to become. Japanese parents aren't calmer because they're perfect. They're calmer because they've built a system. One ritual, one moment, one small act of trust at a time. Shitsuke, mimamoru, amae, prevention, trust, connection. These aren't Japanese secrets. They're human truths, and they're available to every parent, right now, starting today. If this video gave you something to think about, share it with another parent who needs to hear it. And if you want more on child psychology and how the world's best cultures raise emotionally intelligent kids, subscribe. There's a lot more coming. See you in the next one.